What's up, everybody? It's another edition of the Gentile Life Podcast, and this time it's going to be outside, sitting here on my back patio. I have my good friend Dan Hornstein coming to visit with me today. We're going to talk about how he got into comedy and why he loves it so much, and we're probably going to share some stories of the time when we used to work at Mattress Firm together. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show. All right, so here we are. We're back on the Gentile Life Podcast. For those of y'all watching on YouTube, this is my good friend Dan Hornstein. If you're listening on the podcast, we appreciate you listening in. Like I said, you can check it out on YouTube if you want. If you want to see what these faces for radio look like, that's what I like.
You really should be listening.
If you're watching,
sorry.
If you're watching, hello.
Goodbye.
But this is my good friend Dan Hornstein. I met this man roughly about 6 years ago, actually. I guess it's been roughly 6 years. We both worked for Mattress Firm. He was in our learning development department. I was in recruiting, and I can't recall the time we met. Maybe it was in the lunch break room, maybe. I don't know, but I just know for whatever reason, I was involved, like, trying to help out with different little projects that people were, like, asking, like, hey, who wants to volunteer to help in other departments? And for whatever reason, I was like, oh, I'll do it, because I was just excited to be there. And then I started getting to know you, and then I think very quickly we realized, like, we both like to joke around a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I recall anyways. I don't know about you, so.
No, I remember that. You helped a lot with, like, we got to do, like, some funny videos for Bed Talks, which was our national conference. And
it's kind of like a TED Talk, you know. We got creative. Mattress Firm was very creative with the name of what we called things.
As long as it was mattress pun themed,
yes,
you were good. Yeah.
Yes.
But you and I, that was really we were in the similar circles, and we got to do stuff, and we always kind of got along. But that's really where I feel like when we did that kind of stuff, we got to be good friends.
Yes.
And so that was a really cool experience.
Yeah, it was. And of course, you know, we're going to talk about it. You know, the
your injury.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there was an instance where we were asked to help out, and we were doing like multiple different, y'all were doing multiple different like type of dream sequences for this.
We got to
segment.
I'll give you the quick background on it. We had a lot of creative freedom, which was super cool.
Yes, it was.
To make funny videos, and the videos served in this conference to be sort of insertions as we transition from one big thing to another. Yeah. Chapter closes, right? So, hey, we're ending this chapter. We're moving on to this next one. Let's show a video to help the audience reset and get everybody involved. Yeah. Well, one of the videos that we were doing was the story of it was that I had the fortune of hosting for our awards luncheon, which was comedy related, and sort of how I started getting into comedy was doing that. And so we got to write funny videos for that, and that one was dream sequenced, and it was that particular one was my co-host Derek LaHare, and it was his dream that I was kidnapped or tied up by ninjas.
Yep.
And he had to fight them away.
Yes, he did.
And I totally ripped it off because I got the idea from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia,
which is a great show, and
completely stole it, which they say great artists steal. And so you and Chris Nuno and Derek and myself and I think Steve Barnes.
Yes, it was Steve Barnes. I was trying to remember who the third person was.
Was there, and so there was y'all were the three ninjas. Yes. I was tied up, and Derek was there to he was like the hero of his dream sequence. And we went out and got ninja costumes.
I remember that day going out because they're like, okay, we got to go out. We got to get these ninja costumes. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I remember going to this big ass warehouse, like out
in downtown.
And it was like kind of tucked away. I'm like, oh, where are we going? Like, we're almost in Third Ward, guys. Yes. Like, where are we going? And I just remember walking in going, oh my God, there's so much shit. Like, this would be a lot of fun. And y'all were just like, yeah, we're going to go find this. Okay, cool, man. I'm just like, kid in candy store. I'm like, man, if I had money, I'd buy like all this.
Well, I had only been there once or twice before, but that was the place they told us to go.
Yeah.
Corey Ludens, who had done bunches of these, goes, go to this store. I think it's got a weird name. It's called like Frinkles or Twinkles or something like that. He's like, go to Frinkles. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Are you sure you're saying this?
Sure thing, big guy.
What kind of costume shop is this?
Like I walked in, like, yeah, I'm expecting like a full-on like Eyes Wide Shut section. Like, what kind of masquerade are you going to? Is it Phantom of the Opera or is it orgy?
Do I need a safe word?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But like, they've got everything. They've got the the gum that you put to wear a bald cap on. Yeah. You can get everything you need. So you like walk in and you're like, hi, I'd like a ninja costume. Mm-hmm. Sure.
And they're like, it's right over here. Take a look. Try them on.
It was crazy how cool that was. So we got the costumes. And then I remember that was the year where the company was still doing well. So
well, I think I'm going to go with the company was doing well as far as we knew. But in reality, probably not so much.
Probably so. I don't know. I don't want to speak too ill of it.
No, because we loved that place. It was a lot of fun. It brought us together.
It for sure
and
did.
a lot of other people.
It really did.
So yes, it was a great company.
So, but we were allowed to rent the studio. Mm-hmm. And that was a big deal.
Yeah.
It was from what I understand, it was probably a decent amount of money that was spent on that. And the whole step of the way, I remember I'm going, is this okay? I keep checking in with my boss at the time, Corey, who ran Bed Talks, and I kept saying, Corey, is this okay? Corey, is this okay? We're about to do this. Are you sure we're good? He's like, yeah, don't worry about it.
I'm about to hit okay on this. I'm about to hit enter.
We're about to sign the check. This is, And he kept saying, yeah, it's fine. Go for it. So we booked the studio, and I think this is what got you into the injury. The studio was concrete floors.
So yeah, because it's all
hard slab.
It's all white and it curves. Like it's like this little curve thing. Yeah, and it's like straight concrete, which at the time we're not thinking of that because we get on our ninja costumes, and I remember, and we rehearsed this like a million times. Like we rehearsed everything.
The easy part, I just had to sit there.
You sat there tied up like, nah, just let me go. And I remember, so and for the life of me, I don't know why they came to me.
Wonderful impression of me.
Because for those of you watching, you need to see me. I'm a little pudgy, okay? And I was still a little pudgy back then because this was back in 2015-ish, I think.
Right
15,
around
16.
I think that's good.
So it wasn't that long ago. I was still pretty pudgy. You had Steve Barnes, the skinniest son of a bitch alive.
Yeah.
Chris Nuno, who's Mr. Workout Machine, and I want to say there was another guy there. I thought
Tony? Was Tony there?
I think it might have been Tony. So either way, the other three guys that are there are in shape and they're agile and they do things.
Yeah.
They come to me and they go, all right, Ryan, this is what we're gonna have you do. You're gonna kick Derek, and then like what he's gonna do, he's gonna flip you. Can you do that? And of course, still being fairly new in, I didn't want to be like, no, because then they're like, well, we're not inviting this fucker back. I was like, oh yeah, I can do it. It's kind of like the whole, like what they talk about, I guess with acting, it's like you just tell them, yes, you can do it, and then you learn it later.
You figure it out later, yeah.
But I had to basically tell myself, like, I was pretty athletic when I was in high school, but damn, that was a long time ago. I was like, I can do it. So yeah, the whole thing was like, all right, so I'm supposed to kick my foot, and he catches it, and then what he was going to do is he flips me back, and so what I was supposed to do is kind of just do like a somersault. Right? Okay. Or something like that.
Yeah.
However we were supposed to do it. And whatever happened, so I go to kick Derek, and he grabs my foot. And like again, I said, we rehearsed this, and it worked out perfectly. But I think he was supposed to grab my other foot. Or no, he was supposed to hold on to my foot and flip it over as I went to go. So when I went to go flip or somersault, my foot slipped out of his hand. Because he was supposed to give me my momentum to flip me off camera or whatever it was. And so because of that, I'm parallel to the ground, and it's my knee. I think it was my left knee or my right knee.
I think it was that one.
And then
you just moved it and I heard it pop, and I was like,
my ankles.
Residual.
Yeah, my ankles popped too. And so I'm parallel, like where my belly's facing the ground parallel, and I landed knee first, and
you went right into it.
And remember, the sound guy goes, we heard that.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember I'm laying on the ground rolling around like, fuck, like that's not good. Like that's not good. And I remember I got up fairly okay, and everybody's like, oh my God, are you? Because I remember Derek felt so bad. I was like, dude, it's okay.
We all did.
Yeah, I was like, I'll give you shit for the rest of your
major guilt on our part.
And so
I grew up Catholic.
I grew up Baptist, where I'm like, shame.
Yeah, like, and I'm like, I feel it, bro. Like, it was.
Yeah, all I remember, or no, actually, I didn't find out about the sound. You came to me, I think it was like later, like, yeah, the sound guy, like, you just hear this thud. And so, and I remember we still had a lot to shoot, and I couldn't do most of it. I could barely move my leg. Like, my leg was so straight.
It bubbled.
I couldn't bend my knee.
I remember it swelled up pretty immediately.
Yes. Now, here's the other thing I got to preface. So, we finally shoot, like, a couple other things, and this is during the work week. So like we left from work to do this.
That's right. Like a Tuesday afternoon.
So I ended up going back to work, And my knee was okay and everything. Well, then, because I was moving so much, and the place wasn't far from our office. And I get back and sit at my desk, and after a while, like, my knee's bending, but my leg is slowly straightening up and bubbling.
Oh, God.
And I got to
what it was. It wasn't immediate. It was, you're right.
It was like hours later. And so I'm rolling up my pant leg, and I'm trying to get it over my knee to see this thing. Because I'm not trying to go to I was like, I can't walk to the bathroom, and I can't drop my pants at work to look at. So I slide it up, and I look at it, and I went, God, it was so swollen. So I go to Edith. I go, Edith, I need to go to the ER. She goes, oh my God. She goes, go, just get out of here. I was like, yeah, I got to go. And so, so I go there, and they were just like, yeah, and it was fine. I didn't break anything. They gave me like a knee brace. I think I was laid up in bed for like 2 days with this this knee brace. And then like after like a day and a half, I could bend it. It was fine.
That was the LA.
Yeah,
that was LA year.
No. LA year was my first year. This was, I think, San Antonio year, or it wasn't Houston year. I don't think.
Houston was last.
Yeah, that was the very last one, and that was in 2017.
I thought it was in LA because the Sleep Train people saw that video. They saw like one of those and was like, "What is this?"
No, because LA happened in January when it normally happened, and I didn't join until after Thanksgiving. And y'all had already pretty much, and I didn't know y'all. Okay. I didn't know y'all then. And so, because LA was when y'all did all the movie spoofs, like Pulp Fiction and all that.
And
I think that's where they were like, I know there was one that y'all aired that Sleep Train was like, they were not happy about. I can't remember which one it was. I wasn't in the auditorium for that one, though. I was doing something else.
I don't
remember what it was, but yeah.
There were a couple of things that we did that were in poor taste.
Well,
that I won't say
we won't
specifically.
No,
but
we don't need to.
Hindsight's always 20/20.
Of course, but yeah, and I remember when we were doing the ones for San Antonio, I guess y'all were bringing up, y'all were like, yeah, we got to be a little bit more conscious this year or something along those lines, because at that time it was Sleepy's that was coming in. And it was like, okay, we know what not to do this time.
Yeah, we learned some lessons.
That was San Antonio where that one happened. I remember that's where the ninja one happened, because Sam Woods was still with us at that time.
Yes.
Because it was you, Sam, Derek, Crystal Brown.
Yeah. And that's that video. Yeah, that's the one. Everybody. So the idea was like Sam Woods and Matt Forbes they would host the awards gala.
Yes.
Derek and I would host the awards luncheon. So we were there, and the premise of the video was we were meeting with HR. And Crystal from HR was going to take us through, like here are our expectations of HR. But the idea is we were all daydreaming during it and having our own little moments.
And Derek's so was the ninja one.
Like each person had their own daydream sequence of what they were thinking about.
So the thing I have to preface, for everybody listening and watching. So we would rent out these massive hotels. In San Antonio, there's this massive Marriott that we rented out. And so there's this they make this big auditorium. I mean, this was like a spectacular thing for this little itty bitty mattress company that we always did. And so I remember we get to that sequence, and, they're showing the videos, and I'm excited. I'm like, yeah, I mean, you can't see my face because our face is all wrapped up and everything, but I didn't care. I was like, I'm in this. And so it gets to the scene where Derek catches, the ninja and flips him, which is me. And so when the flip happened, you just hear this loud screaming thud that I think was a sound effect y'all added or whoever did in post. And I died laughing. And of course, Chris Nuno's somewhere, and he's pointing, laughing his ass off. Like, dude, did you see that? I go, yeah. I go, that was so great. The
stuff looked good.
That was
video.
So great. Like, you didn't see me hit the ground, but they sure made the sound effects that I probably made in real life.
Yep.
They just made it better.
All right, so I remember now how everything came together and why that was that chosen video. That was meant to address the year prior. And the year prior, it was San Antonio.
Yeah.
Because the year before that was LA, and in LA we got in trouble because of the nudity.
That's right, the naked, where y'all were running around naked.
It was the nudity, and that was the year that I lost a bunch of weight that year too. And so, like, there's a video of Fat Dan, is like 75 pounds heavier, sprinting in the halls of 5815 naked. And that was only because before that, Matt and Sam had done these naked videos.
Yes, I remember hearing about those.
So it was like, this is like the nude man trilogy.
Yeah. This is the Mattress Firm way.
But that was also the year that Sleep Train came in.
Well, yeah, that was a Mattress Firm thing, and then when you bring in other people from other companies
without any warning,
which some people were probably like, "That's kind of funny," and then most people were like,
"What?" They were like, "Dude, we're like, this is our job.
Like, what is this?" Yes.
So the answer to it was, let's have a video where we have to meet with HR. Because in my mind, I'm probably putting way too much thought into this because I thought it was kind of a cool post note of that.
I thought it was too. Yeah.
And you were involved. We had a lot of discussions and stuff, so you kind of knew like here's what the overall intent of it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else connected the dots.
Probably not.
They got in trouble because of the nudity, and now they have to go meet with HR. But because it had been a year and some change.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, because those videos aired in January, and then we didn't do the next Bed Talks until February of the following year. Like, it got pushed back.
Yeah,
like,
that was Houston, and Houston was the last one we did.
And that was in May.
Right.
Because of the Super Bowl. Because we had to push it back because of the Super Bowl. I remember that. But yeah, so... And I remember, and I guess before we move on, but I remember your dream sequence was the Muppets. Like, she turned into a Muppet. And I remember you telling me, I don't remember if we were in a group or you were just telling me, but I remember you were talking about, like, you had this perfect image of, like, a Muppet. Like, you see, like, the Muppets. Like,
yes.
Perfect
Think
Muppet.
Elmo, think Grover.
Like, perfect, right? And then I guess because of a licensing thing, you couldn't do something. But the way the Muppet came out, you were like, not that you weren't disappointed, but you're like, it kind of looks a little creepy or something.
That's what it turned into. It was meant to be. You're absolutely right. Yeah. The idea was that I was meant to be simple enough that I would be watching Crystal through this lens, and in my vision, like my POV of her, she's a Muppet. And I was thinking like very Sesame Street-ish. It had nothing to do with licensing necessarily. It was the only place that we could get that did a puppet. This is what they did. Yeah. And it came back looking like a paper mache nightmare.
Didn't Crystal like, what the hell is that?
She saw it. We gave it to her after.
I hope she still has it.
No, she like, we found it. Whenever everybody moved out of 5815, we found it. I think we went back to shoot another video in the empty space and saw it there. And we're like, well, I guess that answers that question.
So, which, speaking of, okay, so for those listening and watching, so we had two offices when I joined the recruiting department. Right. We outgrew our britches at our main office, which was in Houston, and then we had to move to like a satellite location on the west side of Houston, which is where I was and Dan was and a few others departments. So we finally moved into our big office, you know, where everybody's together once again after a few years. So the other big office that we had was attached to a store we owned, so we were, you know, it's just an empty space. We used it for whatever, right? Well, y'all shot the next year a spoof on The Shining.
Yes.
And the hallways are dripped in blood with, you know, with Sunny and Amanda, who were with the company, and they were sisters and they're very much alike. So y'all did the shot of them in the hallway with the blood everywhere, right?
Yeah, they're the two girls that come play with us.
So the thing is, I know you left well after this happened, but I remember thinking that, okay, we ended up selling that property, or we didn't release it, right? Like about a year ago. It's all torn down now. But I remember going there when they were using it for nothing, and it's pitch dark, and I'm just walking around kind of reminiscing. I don't know why we were there.
Nobody cleaned it.
And I look down the hallway, and there is blood all over the wall still. Nobody cleaned it up. So, of course, when they were like, we sold that location, it's no longer there, I'm like, oh, I wish I was there when the person that owned it was going through a walkthrough and saw that hallway.
Yeah.
That would have been so perfect. That would have been so funny.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that would have been funny. All right, so I love that you brought up, so you hosted the award ceremonies that y'all would do with all, like, because I mean, we brought in people from all over the country for this, and we would reward top district managers, ops people, and stuff like that, and you and Derek. I remember the first year I was there, which was L.A.
That might have been the first year we did it.
Oh, no, not L.A., excuse me. It was, the first year you did was L.A. In San Antonio, everybody knew about my broadcasting, so they asked me to be y'all's VOG and do the announcements.
Right.
And then, of course, I know you said that's when you started really getting into comedy and thinking about comedy and stuff like that, which is why I wanted to have you on the show, not us just talk about Mattress Firm.
I'll talk about whatever.
But yeah, but so is that where your itch for comedy really started, doing those type of things, or did it come before that?
No, that kicked it off. So it was always kind of a bucket list thing. Yeah. Part of the reason why I got into the job that I do now in training is because my years and years ago, before I worked for Mattress Firm, I worked for a coffee company, And they let me teach their new hire orientation. It was a 1-day, 8-hour thing. We'd bring in people that everywhere in the city, they would have to come to this 1-day workshop. And that was my first thing getting into training. And I learned that I could make it a lot more entertaining if I made it fun for them. Yeah. And they'd listen better. Mm-hmm. So I tried to make it as funny as possible. That's sort of the preamble to everything else.
Like the little nugget that just started.
That was exactly. That's the earliest seed, I think, of that. I had always liked stand-up comedy. I had always kind of had this bucket list idea to go do stand-up comedy. But for some reason, it was something that I put on this pedestal that I never touched it. I always thought that's unattainable. I'm not good enough for that, or there are people that are better suited for that. And instead, I played a lot of music. I played music through college, and so that itch to perform in front of people was scratched by doing music. So fast forward, I get to Mattress Firm. I kind of stopped doing music. I go, and I was living in Florida at the first time they let us do the luncheon, which I think was in D.C.
Yes, because that was before I was there, but I think I think D.C. was the first time.
I think you were with the company, you just weren't.
I was selling beds.
Yeah, I was because you started before me.
I started in 2012. Right, is when I started, and I was slinging springs, as they like to call it, slinging sprang. Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, DC was the first one that I remember somebody telling me y'all were doing like all that stuff.
Okay, and so that was Derek and I, and we did 10 minutes of jokes, and it was all company-centric stuff. It wasn't getting up there and doing, I guess, what I would call regular stand-up material. That lit a fuse, okay? But I still didn't do much with it. It wasn't until, I guess, either it was L.A. or San Antonio, maybe San Antonio, where we noticed that we had this guy that worked for us named Alan, who had been with the company like a couple of years, but just kind of quiet dude that kept to himself.
Oh yeah, he's the guy, like, if you're watching a movie and it's a murder movie, like a horror movie, you're thinking, oh, that has to be the killer. Like, he just had that look to him sometimes. Like, you would see him like, man, I don't know if I should talk to him because I don't know if he's gonna like say hi or if he's got
like he's got like an Edgar Allan Poe vibe, and
he's really nice though. He's a cool guy.
I love him. Alan, as it turns out, is a very accomplished stand-up performer. He's been doing it for like almost 20 years.
Because he performed in San Antonio.
That was what it was.
I remember when they brought him on, or I remember announcing him, and then I remember with the stand-up, like, I found it funny because his seems very dry at times.
It's super dry.
And I have a good buddy of mine who's very dry sense of humor that cracks me up. So I know a lot of things he said, you would hear like, oh, and I'm like, and I'm sitting here, I'm like in the bag with my microphone trying not to laugh into it, going.
And that's like my favorite style of comedy because I just can't do it. I can't. Yeah. If I try to do dry, I come off as either mean or dumb, maybe.
Yeah.
And Alan's so good at it. He really is like, I don't know if you're watching this and you get a chance to go watch Alan Adams perform anywhere, I highly recommend it. Dude's hilarious. He and I started talking and started becoming good friends leading up to that bed talks.
Yeah.
And I would kind of bemoan to Alan how much I was jealous that he had done stand-up for so long.
Yeah.
Over and over saying stuff, man, wish I could go do this. I wish I could do stand-up, da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. And Alan, being like as dry as he is, straight up just goes, okay, why don't you?
Yeah. He's not going to sugarcoat it. He's going to say, like, so do it.
And yeah. And dude, for some reason, that was the little push. It sucked all the glory out of it, or all that allure that I had put it up against, and like the pedestal that it was on. Yeah. All of a sudden, it became ground level and became this thing that I thought, maybe he's right. Maybe I could do this. Yeah. And Alan was super cool. He's like, come with me. We'll go to the Joke Joint here in South Houston, which was an old comedy club. He says, come with me on a Wednesday. They do a workshop, and then they do an open mic. You can workshop jokes. You can that'll be your first time to get on stage. You'll be in front of other comics.
Yeah.
But that's the point of it, is other comics meet there and they try stuff out.
Yeah.
And then the open mic is you get to try stuff out again, but you get to do it in front of an audience there. And so I got there. But I think before that I had went and watched a couple of open mics with Alan. And the open mics help to seal the deal too, because you see people doing really, really well.
Yeah.
And you're going, holy cow, that's awesome. And then you see people that you can tell they're starting out or they're new and they're not doing as good. And it was when I saw those people, that's when I was, again, same kind of thing. It was that reassurance of, okay, I might be able to do this. I know I can't do Mattress Firm jokes, you know, like I can't just get up there and
because they won't understand.
Yeah,
like,
I can't
unless
rip
you work
on,
for Mattress Firm, you're not going to know.
I'm not going to get up there and be like, it's a Tim Baker's hair, huh? You know, and everybody's going to know what I'm talking about.
As you see, I'm laughing. People are watching or listening going, what?
Tim, if you're out there, change your hair. You look dumb. So, I love you though. It's coming from a good place. This whole podcast will turn into a Tim Baker intervention. Let's call him. Hey Tim, it's been 3 years. Is your hair still dumb? Okay. No. So I still remember I got up and my very first open mic, it went bad, but I still got some laughs.
Yeah.
There was not many people there, maybe 6 or 7 people in the audience, which is what I was expecting. I didn't think it was going to be...
Yeah, you're not expecting like a sold-out arena type show. Yeah, it's an open mic.
I know what an open mic is. I'd done those when I played music, so I knew that much of what to expect. And I also knew that like people probably are going to be half listening anyway. Yeah. People were more attentive in comedy open mics than at music open mics, which was cool. But I got laughs, and that was just enough to where I went, yeah, okay. That was kind of if everything else was the nudge, the fuse was lit, that was the explosion of the dynamite. And after that, I started to go out more and more and more and do open mics and start to write jokes and start to figure out how to write jokes and how to really kind of craft this and work on a stage presence. And now, fast forward to today, I've been doing stand-up for like 4 years. It's pretty much a really big part of my life at this point. To the point where I do enough shows and I get paid for it that I consider it a part-time job. Yeah. I don't want it to just be a hobby. Yeah. I want to take it a little more serious than that. Yeah. And so I work at it. I try to put in enough effort. I try to make it a good experience. I try to like value my audience and give them a good show when they're there. And it's interesting. It's kind of an obsession a little bit.
That's good though.
It's a good obsession. Good. Yeah, I mean it's a really good creative outlet, and I love the process of it. I've really fallen in love with the writing of jokes and the rewriting and the revision. I was in college. I was an English major, so creative writing has kind of always been a part of what I liked, and everything just kind of fell into place pretty well. So that's how I got my start into comedy.
Well, I feel like it's like with anything that, especially if it's something you're passionate about, there's always going to be trial and error. You know, it's always going to be, like you said, the open mic night, okay, I got a few laughs, feel like I can do this. Okay, what could I do differently next time? And then I do it next time, and then next time, and so forth and so forth. And I mean, it's like with me with the podcast or anything I do or anybody does. You're going to try it out. And because what I remember was...
You're doing great, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, I had you on the show.
That's right.
I got you on the show. You
better now.
Yeah, that's right. You better say that shit. I will bleep it out if you say this podcast. Cut in post production. What did he say, man? He said some filthy words, man. I don't know.
Inappropriate. He's never coming back.
But I remember. I remember San Antonio. Obviously, you and Derek doing some things, and then I want to say. Oh, man, I know it was before Houston. We did our Houston conference, but I think you had a show over here by us, where I live, over off Fuquay.
Yeah, that's the joke. That's where the joke joint.
Is that where the joke joint is? Okay, I was blanking on the name. I don't know why. And I remember you did like I remember you invited a small group of people from work to come because you were performing that night. Because I know it was like me and Megan and a couple other people from work. That you said, hey, I get these tickets. Would you want to come? And we're like, yeah, absolutely. I can't remember if that was before or after Houston, but I remember thinking to myself, like, okay, one, he's funny when he's on stage. He says some funny stuff. When me and him are talking, kind of like what we are now, you and I always just shoot the shit and joke because I think you and I have a very similar sense of humor.
For sure.
And so I think, which is why I laugh at a lot of things you say. And so I thought, okay, I definitely want to go, one, show him support, and two, I want to see how well he does, and then if he doesn't do well, hey, that's fine. I'm still showing him support. But if he does well, I'll be like, I was there.
Y'all have come out to, y'all have been probably some of the better friends in terms of coming out to shows.
No.
And that is hella appreciated.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because like y'all saw me early, and I can confidently say I'm better now.
Yes.
I don't know if good is the word.
Well, I know a few years ago we went to one that was in Houston. It was like at a house, or it was like what was it? It was like because I think Sam Woods was there.
Was that Rudyard's, the bar?
I think so, but it's like a house out there in Midtown or something like that.
Yeah. Oh no, you came to PJ's.
PJ's, okay.
You came to PJ's.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that might.
And I remember, but no, I remember going there, and I remember thinking to myself like, your jokes were different than what we heard last time and everything else, and so
that's such a I like, oh my god, if anybody out there is learning like thinking about doing comedy, do not invite people to open mics. Wait, sit on it, wait till you get a good show.
Yeah,
like that's why so many people will come to an open mic and be like, dude, this is not for me. Like, good luck to you.
Yeah,
love you, bud.
Yeah,
have at it. You know,
because I know what we came to was an open mic. I know that was like an actual.
It was a show. It was a showcase show,
yeah,
but still such a shitty venue.
Yeah, because that one was. I don't think that, or maybe it was an open mic. I don't remember.
No,
but,
I remember it was one of the shows that they had there. It was like an early show, and I had tickets and.
Yeah, and I just remember we went there, but I remember going to those shows, and then I remember in Houston our final conference, which we kind of felt like it was going to be the last one. We didn't know for sure, but the last one was here in Houston, and I remember they let you do your stand-up, what was it, Bed Talks After Dark.
It was After Dark or After Hours.
After Hours, something called like that.
And that's where we got to show all the videos.
Yes.
That year.
Yeah.
And do real material.
Yes. Yeah, and I remember you got to get on stage and present, and I remember some people were like, "Oh yeah, we're like, yeah, you need to go see Dan." And
I know all those jokes.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I've
seen it.
Well, you got to think we're only there for like 3 or 4 days, where everybody's in town, and so it was optional. But a lot of people still turned out. I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we didn't make it a required thing. This was the communication was.
It was like at 10 o'clock at night or something.
It was like at 10 o'clock at night, but everybody had their free time, so people could go out and drink. They could go to a restaurant. They could go swim. Whatever. You could go to sleep. But it was like, if you want something to do, collectively.
And I went to both nights, even though it was the same routine. I still went to both because I was like, well, one, it's fun.
2 nights.
And to me, and people were like, "Weren't you here the other night?" I was like, "Yeah, it's my buddy." He still texts me up.
That's awesome. I appreciate that.
I know his jokes and I think I made a bet with somebody, which I think I lost if I remember correctly. I was like, I bet you he does a Fast and Furious joke.
Yeah.
Because you had done that a couple of times, and then I was like, okay, he's gonna do it, and I don't think you did. I was like, damn it, he didn't do his Fast and Furious joke.
I probably just forgot. It was probably like in my little set list that I made and just slipped my mind at that time. That was one of the I still tell that joke. That was one of like the earlier jokes that I wrote that I think got a good pop, like a good laugh from people.
Well, I think that's definitely a joke that everybody is either seen at least the first few Fast and Furiouses,
right? And
then even if they haven't seen the millions that have happened after the second one, they still know they're there, and usually they'll see the poster and it says family or one last ride.
Something like that, right? Like,
so even if they haven't seen the movie, they know the tagline.
I forgot about that tagline
because of the trailers or whatever.
One last ride. Every time. How many last rides do you have, Vin Diesel?
Well, funny joke. So I think new material. Supposedly they're going to space.
No.
Supposedly, here's the thing. My wife and I will go watch the movies because now it's so ridiculous. We're like, all right, well now I'm invested. Like, what's gonna happen?
They have to keep like one-upping.
Yes. Supposedly they're going to space. I don't know if it's with this one or the next one, but apparently the last one's gonna be the 11th one, I think, or something like that. Which I think they're about to air the 9th one.
These are like the Jason movies in the 80s, like the Friday the 13th movies, who even did a space one. they did Jason Goes to Space.
It was Jason X. I remember. I think that was in the mid-90s.
It's atrocious.
Oh yeah.
It's a huge piece of shit movie.
It is. Oh my god. So there you go. I just helped you with new material. Copyright Ryan Gentile.
Space Force.
One last space ride. Sorry, I can't. See, I'm funny. I just can't be a comedian.
You could.
God, I don't know if I could do stand-up. Actually, you talked about bucket lists. I love that you brought that up with the whole comedic thing because I know, one of mine is I want to audition for like a movie or TV show.
Hell yeah.
Just find it and go audition and just see what happens. And obviously,
find out what stunts they want to do beforehand.
Well, if they go, hey, can you do stunts?
Can you do ninja work?
Yes, I can. I gotta find it, but I got some.
Make sure you're SAG registered before then, so your insurance is covered.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm like, I have been a ninja. That is for sure. But yeah, so that's on a bucket list of mine. So I love that you brought that up with the bucket list thing. So when it comes to comedy, so like you said, it's now like a part-time job. So now that that's off your bucket list, when it comes to comedy, is there another bucket list that you're like, okay, now that I've kind of established myself and I'm doing pretty well, is there something now that you're like, what's the next step in comedy that you're maybe trying to get to one day, if ever?
Yeah, so there's tiers, there's kind of clear progressions in comedy. There's stages. When you're first starting out, your first milestone, I guess, would be get a good 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it sounds, when you first hear it, you go, come on, it can't be very long at all. That is an incredibly daunting task.
Yes, it is.
Early on. There are comics that I'll talk to who get very analytical, and they'll break down a 5-minute set and track laughs per minute.
Oh, wow.
Which means the total amount of punchlines that you tell, and you get people laughing in it. Wow. And that's the metric that they use.
Okay.
So if in a 5-minute set, if I've got 5 laughs, or if I've got, let's say, 2 laughs per minute in a 5-minute set, that means I'm telling a joke every 30 seconds. That's not bad.
Okay.
If I can tell a full joke and get a punchline in 30 seconds, boom, I'm good. Where a lot of people struggle, I think, is they try to do story-based things.
Yeah.
And one of the lessons I learned early on from Alan, who does a lot of just short jokes, and I do a lot of short jokes, I probably ripped Alan off more than I should have. Should I don't break that? No, fuck it. Good artist borrow, great artist steal. All right, I'm not like Carlos Mencia my way through it and just like straight up like totally lifting his jokes. But I watched him and I took a lot of influence from his style and the way he did it. It's homage. That's right. And so what the people that I see that do the more story-based stuff.
Yeah.
It's tough because they want to build and build and build to get to this. And the lesson I learned is the longer you make an audience wait before you drop a punchline on them or give them something to laugh at, the stronger that hook has to be, the stronger the punchline has to be.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they're going to get bored and they're going to stop listening. And their attention spans are nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why people go for that laughs per minute.
Yeah.
And why, as a writer, you have to really revise and work on and get to that point where you build your 5 minutes. So from there it goes, it's sort of incrementally grows in 5 minutes until you get to 25, 30. And then for some reason, the milestone jumps from, all right, so I've got what they call a tight 5 or a hot 5. Got a good solid 5 minutes that if you give me a guest spot anywhere, I'll do these jokes in 5 minutes and it will be a good set. It's a really good beginning milestone. Then I've got a tight 10 minutes. My tight 10 minutes is solid. I'm going to do these jokes. It's kind of standard and everything. Then I got a tight 15, tight 20, tight 25, tight 30. Then it goes from tight 30 to headliner. Okay? Which is... So typically the way comedy clubs will book and produce their shows, so that's your milestone in writing. So right now I'm right at like the 30-minute. I've got a good 30-minute feature set, and I call it a feature set, and I'll explain what that is here in just a second. Okay. And I'm sorry if I'm being real elementary here. I'm assuming that like a lot of people that are listening are like, what's comedy?
Or hey, you might have somebody who's like, I want to be a comedian.
Okay.
And they're like, how the hell do I become a comedian? They're about to learn. You're about to drop some fucking knowledge.
So this is the trick is how you get started is you just go. You kind of have to just go and start signing up and start working on jokes. You'll learn your style. You'll learn when sort of your natural evolution of it. There are some books. I tried to read one once and it didn't do me very much good on here's how to write comedy. There's workshops you can do. They're kind of a waste of time.
But I feel like comedy is like, writing comedy would be like, that book's probably good for that one person, maybe a few, but like, because everybody's different.
Exactly. Right? And everybody's style is different and unique to them. And some of it's just figuring out your voice. Yeah. So similarly to if I were a playwright or if I were writing a movie or feature film or sitcom, some of it's going to have a tone. It's going to have my voice to it. And once you find what that is, you start to write to that. Yeah. So the way comedy clubs book their shows. And here in Houston, we've got the Improv is really our only one right now, and it's open. They'll book an MC, they'll book a feature, and they'll book a headliner. So every time you go to a comedy show at a club, you'll see 3 comics perform. The host and MC of the event does about 15 minutes of material. They're typically the newest comics. So again, for me, another milestone with that was, first time I got to host at a comedy club was a big deal for me. I got really lucky because I got to host for Tim Meadows.
Oh, nice.
Tim Reynolds is a guitar player for Dave Matthews Band. He wasn't there. Tim Meadows was in town, and I just happened to get booked for that one.
I remember you telling me about that. Yeah.
It's super cool. He's a very nice guy, but that's after that I had something that I could kind of have on my verbal resume, which was I've worked with this guy who's
very well known.
And I do think that they would not have let me work that weekend had they thought I couldn't do it. So it carries a lot of gravitas to it, even if that was just the month that you got chosen. Still means you're chosen. We're confident in you no matter who's headline.
Like they had you booked, and then all of a sudden he's coming in. They're like, okay, Dan? Okay,
Dan, we're good. We don't need to change this out, because they would have. I hosted for a long time, built it up. You're doing about 15 minutes. Now I'm at a point where I'm starting to feature. And the feature act is you're in the middle, you're setting it up for the headliner. The crowd is warmed up, but you're there to build it up so that the headliner comes in and has a good set. And then after that, you start to headline. Now, while I'm featuring, I'm setting a little other personal goals for myself. One of them is starting to branch out of Houston. I wanted to work more out of town.
Nice.
And 2020, surprisingly, has been decent for me with that. I've gotten to do shows in Corpus Christi. I've gotten to do shows in College Station, and I've gotten to do shows on the outskirts of Austin. So next I want to hit San Antonio hard once we get through everything, and and I want to hit Austin pretty hard. And then I want to go back east and do more stuff in Louisiana. They've got some stuff going on in Lake Charles. Lafayette, Louisiana has surprisingly like a really tight.
I mean, the name's Lafayette. I mean, you think it Lafayette,
bro? I'm kind of pissed that I hadn't thought of that.
And that's your second one. Damn, Ryan's giving me some good shit here.
Fast space,
one last space ride, Lafayette.
The Fast and the Space Furious. And then
you don't even have to pay me. Just give me free tickets to the show. That's all I ask.
Done. Sold. I need people to go anyway. I'll drive you there. I'll bring you.
I'll have my mask with your face on it.
God, dude.
Just to throw you off on the front row, and you're like, "Damn it, Ryan! Now I can't. Hold on, I gotta come back out and try again."
There's so right now there is one open mic, and it's kind of jarring because they put up a big shield for the comics to stand behind, and it's transparent, but you can see your reflection.
Yeah, which is weird.
And it's so weird because like all I see is myself, and I can't quite see the crowd because the lights are coming at me.
Yeah, it's
at this one spot, and it's like, all right. I'll still do the jokes, but it's just very odd. I keep going because I'm like I feel like there's something to learn from that. Like it's on some level a good hurdle to overcome.
Well, if you can overcome that, then once things get back to normal,
and I can actually see people, it's good.
I hope you incorporate that into your sets. Like, I can't see anybody. Did anybody laugh at that?
I tried, but nobody knew they could see because they don't see your reflection.
That's true. They don't know that you can't see.
And so I tried to make like one little joke about it the first time I did it, and nobody responded. And I was like, all right, moving on.
So I have to ask then, so how many times, or I mean, I guess not how many times, but when you're trying out new jokes and it falls flat, is it like dead on arrival once that happens? Or is it something like, okay, maybe it just didn't work with this crowd, I'll try it one more time? Or like, how does that usually happen?
It depends. Okay. And some of it depends on how much I like the joke.
Gotcha.
If there's more than a few times where I've written a joke and the moment it leaves my lips, regardless of the audience, I go, I don't like that. It doesn't fit my style, or it's just not something I want to tell anymore. For some reason, it's gone. So I'll toss those pretty quickly. Maybe I may tell them once or twice. If it's a joke that I really feel like has legs and has some promise to it, has some potential, if it doesn't work that first time, I'll continue to work on it. And I'll try to either rewrite it or I'll try to put it in a different order of stuff. There's a really great scene that influenced me early on in a documentary called Comedian with Jerry Seinfeld. The whole point of the documentary is it's Jerry after Seinfeld, the show, ended when he started to get his comedy career going. And I remember watching this back when comedy was still on my bucket list thing and thinking this was one of those things that made me feel like this was a daunting enterprise.
Yeah.
There's a scene where Seinfeld goes to whatever club in New York. He performs his set. He comes off and they're interviewing him, and you can tell he's kind of bummed.
Yeah, he didn't feel it.
He wasn't feeling it. And they said, "What is it?" He goes, "Well, I've got these 2 jokes and they're not working, and I don't know. This should work. Why isn't
he knows
they're
funny, but people aren't laughing."
Exactly. It's not getting the response he knows it deserves. The next night, he goes up, does the same 2 jokes, but switches the order, and all of a sudden, it clicks and it hits. And so there's a lot of the trial and error with comedy and with jokes is not only am I writing it, am I rewriting it, am I getting the right verbiage?
Yeah.
But also, where does this belong in relationship to the other jokes?
Yeah.
And is it too jarring? Is it too much of a non sequitur? Or is it, I mean, there's a zillion different variables. That's the part of the thing that I love about it now. The thing that used to intimidate me the most going in is now the thing that I love is fiddling with it and getting it to a point, right? So if there's a joke that I feel like is good and has that, I really want to try to iron this out, I'll rewrite it 3 or 4 times. If by the 3rd or 4th time it doesn't get the response that I want, I shelve it.
Yeah.
And I may come back to it. I organize the way that I write my jokes based on month and year.
Okay.
And so they're all in notes in my phone. But I'll go once every now and again if I'm having some writer's block or whatever. I'll go look at, okay, here's March 2018. And I can look, and it's a good record of this is what I was writing then. This is where I was at the time. Some of it's just ideas. Some of it's jokes that I tell still. But I can take something there, and sometimes that'll be the just amount of the time difference that I need to where it'll go, there it is. And I've had more than a couple of times where I go, that's what the punchline should be. Yeah. I know now. Okay. And who knows why, right?
Yeah. But it works for whatever reason.
But then it works. And then it's so invigorating because I've got this excitement to go in and tell the jokes. Yeah. There's a couple of jokes there's some jokes that I write where I'll be really excited to tell it because I think it's a funny idea. There's somewhere I've had this happen too where I'll write the joke and you know every joke is at its core 2 parts, a setup and a punchline. Okay. Right. So knock knock, that's the setup. Yeah. Right. Who's there is part of the setup, and then the punchline is orange, you glad I didn't say banana or whatever. I'm going to talk your ear off on this. I'm sorry.
That's the point.
I get way too.
That's the point of this podcast.
Too soapbox about comedy. I've had jokes before where the setup ends up being the part that the audience laughs at the most. Oh, okay. And I went, oh, you laughed at that. Yeah. I wasn't intending you to. But okay. And then you work with the order and you change. Yeah. So you switch it around and you make that sentence or that part of it the punchline, and you kind of reverse engineer it from there. So you go, okay, so now I have this punchline. You're laughing at this. How do I get to that destination from a starting point? And you kind of figure where it is from there.
So it sounds like, because I love watching TV shows, and I love, and I still buy DVDs of TV shows. Well, I haven't done it in a long time, but the reason I like buying the DVDs is because I like watching behind the scenes, like the table reads, or like
I love that,
or like they're live performing in front of the audience, and writers are making changes on the spot because the crowd's maybe not responding to a joke, right? And things. So it sounds like comedy is literally like almost writing like a TV script, and then as you're on stage, you're making the adjustment as you go. Yeah, in a way.
Yeah, some comics are better on stage. They're better performers than me, and they'll get up there without a lot of script and just start talking and see where the moment takes them, and they'll audio record their set so they can go back and listen to that and say, okay, did I say something that got funny? And then they'll take that and reverse engineer it. Gotcha. I'm a little more.
You have more structure.
I have to have that little structure. That's how I get confidence on stage. When I played music the confidence, I was always very nervous until we got through the first song.
Yeah.
And after that, I was fine. And playing music, you're one of 4. You're one of 5.
Yeah, you're not there by yourself.
You've got a little more anonymity. Mm-hmm. Yeah, stand-up, it's just you.
Yeah.
So I'm always very nervous when I perform stand-up until I get that first good laugh. And then I'm more comfortable. But even then, I need the structure. I need to have it rehearsed and organized because that's the presentation that I want to have. I can't just get up there and wing it. I'll ad-lib a little bit, but not like some other people do. And I forgot where I was going with that.
You didn't have your structure.
I didn't have
your structure sheet.
We were talking about writing and so the sort of sitcom analogy.
Yeah.
So it's a little like Saturday Night Live does it, where they do a dress rehearsal.
Yeah.
And then before the show, they'll cut stuff, they'll reorganize stuff, or they'll change jokes and rewrite punchlines. The beauty part about stand-up is you get infinite tries before or after a performance. So a Saturday Night Live episode or a sitcom that's taped live, once that one is finished, it's in the bag, it's in the can, it's done.
Yeah.
With stand-up, you get a lot of repetition because you're constantly getting to perform in front of a new audience.
Yeah, it's not the same people every night.
So you get to continue to work on your jokes.
Yeah.
And what I like is, like, I had a joke. I did a show not too long ago in Lake Jackson, way down south, and I did a joke that's probably about 2.5 years old. And it's a joke that I'm very proud of. It's one of my old jokes, and it's got a good, like, strong first punchline, and then it's got like 3 extra punchlines after that.
Yeah.
And the headlining comic, who's a guy I respect a lot, was there, and he goes, "Hey, what if you said this?" And it was like this perfect,
like, light bulb, just boom, like,
And it's a callback to another joke that I have, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's great!" So now I have 4 good punchlines to go with this joke, which is that's the dream, right? It's just laughs, and it's been working. So here's a good example of a joke that's 2.5, 3 years old that I thought could have been done, and now I get to continue to add to it. It's a little like George Lucas with Star Wars. He's constantly tinkering and changing
2 years ago, this was my episode 5, and then there was 6 and 7. Now I'm going to go back to 1.
He's like, look, I put some bad CGI in, but I'm going to go back, I'm going to fix all that. And sometimes you're like, can I just watch the original? He's like, no, it doesn't exist, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, so your jokes are not going to have Jar Jar in them.
So like a good example of that is when you brought up the Fast and the Furious thing. For whatever reason, the evolution of that joke, I had stopped doing that tag about one last ride, and I think the reason why I stopped it was because in the larger set it goes into a different bit after that, and I found it was an easier transition if I didn't do that punchline.
Oh yeah.
But it's cool because now you're reminding me of it. I'm like, oh, now I'm getting that instinct to go, could I work it back in and how?
Well, yeah, because you've been doing it for so long, I feel like jokes, and again, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but the way you're describing everything, I hear it as, okay, I have this list of jokes that I've done. Like you said, you have all this material that you're like, okay, here's my stuff that I don't do anymore or it doesn't work anymore, but after a few years, it's like, oh, but wait a minute, maybe because now things have changed, or now I can add this to it because I know more now than what I did then, to where maybe I can shift that joke where it's still the same, but add to it and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's like kind of like, the That's whole. Exactly it's like how everybody always talks about how fashion usually comes back. Like right now, the '90s fashion is kind of coming back a little bit. You know what I mean? Because like now we're going back to it.
I actually I got an ad on my phone for Jinkos.
Yes.
And I was like this close, dude. I was so close to pulling the trigger. I
need you to buy FUBU. Is what I need you to buy.
Let's wear some fucking. Let's get some starter jackets.
I still have this. I have my sports starter jacket of the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay.
My mom found it and she gave it to me. It is in the closet.
Does it still fit?
I haven't tried it on. I don't know.
Oh, you gotta get that on.
I'm sure. Yeah. I don't know if it will, but maybe.
Bro, start wearing a starter jacket this winter. I guarantee you, like, people will be like, oh, shit. We'll get some Zubaz.
Let me know when your next show is. I will show up wearing a starter jacket.
Dude, I just think, how hilarious would it be for me to be, like, 40 years old, fucking kicking it with some Jinkos on.
Yeah. Your starter jacket on.
Just outstanding. Jinkos and a chain wallet. I'd be like, so anyways, I'm married.
the Bugs Bunny shirt with them wearing the shirt backwards and everything. The Bugs Bunny
like the Space Jam, like backwards.
Yes, I used to have those. Oh my god, I used to rock those.
Crisscross style.
Yes, I used to rock those.
Let me ask you a question. Did you ever do that, like wear your jeans backwards, like
God, no. Okay, so I think I tried to put them on one time, and because of the bottom line, pretty much hit my nutsack a little too much. I went, and
so hard.
Well, because you got to think. I mean, I'm a white dude that is not wearing saggy pants at that time when that was the trend. So my pants are not tight,
so like up around your waist.
Yeah, they're like they don't sag, you know. So as I pulled them up, I'm like, what the? I'm like, oh nope, I ain't doing that.
Mac Dad'll make you.
I'm like, I'm good. No, yeah, Mac Daddy maybe not have kids anymore.
I remember it was like I did it. I got successfully the jeans on backwards for like one day until I had to pee.
Yeah, and then you're like, well, this is
even at 8. I was like, this isn't worth it. This is not worth the effort.
This is not gonna work. Oh my god.
So yeah, so fashion's coming back in retro.
Yes, but I figured comedy jokes that's kind of very similar in a way.
It is. It is. I had a joke that I dropped from my long set for about a year, and was going through some old notes not too long ago, and I found I went, man, like I don't remember why I stopped telling that joke, but I'm going to tell that joke tonight.
Yeah.
And I went on stage and I told that joke, and it got a good response, and I went, maybe that's what it. So. I love analyzing and kind of deconstructing why is something working or why is something not working, because there's always a different factor. It could be me, could be my performance, it could be an external factor, it could be the way the order of the jokes, it could be my mood, it could be the audience's mood, it could be something happened in the news and everybody's in a weird mood. You know, I remember
maybe the comic before you just rubbed them the wrong way.
Could be that. That happens sometimes. Yeah.
There were some shows I remember going to, and I remember we talked to you afterwards, like, so we like so and so and so and so, but that one person.
I've seen comics have an ego, man. Like think about the kind of I want to be humble if I can. I want to have some humility. Yeah. Even then, I still recognize it is such a self-serving.
Oh, absolutely.
Art form. It is all about me.
But you said it though. It's you on stage. It's not like you can blame it on the drummer or the guitarist or whoever. It's like it all falls on you.
And it's. I feel like it's even more, a little bit egotistical than other things where you're performing. In acting, you're usually sharing the stage with somebody. If you're a painter, it's look at the product of what I did, not look at me.
Yeah, very true.
This is just
like it's all about you.
All about me. Do we need to pause for a second?
No, I'll let it go. I don't care.
Okay.
We live by an airfield, Ellington, so we get a lot of...
And we're inside. No,
yeah. This
obviously
is inside my... Yeah, if you're watching, this is my back patio.
This is right.
I feel like it's a little gloomy out today, too, and I feel like as we're sitting on the couch, I'm like, welcome to my podcast, Dan. Come sit on my couch.
I feel like we're gonna end it with like a Stuart Smalley.
Yeah, we should, yeah.
I'm good enough, I'm smart enough.
And gosh darn it, people like me. Total loss of
I saw a comic one time who got mad at the audience. And this is where the comic ego comes in.
Yeah.
The audience wasn't laughing as much as he thought he deserved.
Yeah. And you see those clips and you're just like, wow.
And you're like, dude, he turned on him.
Wow.
And I was next.
Oh, Jesus.
And I got up there and I just tried, I said something like, I just want to thank y'all for coming.
Did people laugh?
You chose to spend your time with me, and I'm very appreciative. Yeah, that got a good response because I'm not going to bash him necessarily, or be like, well, that guy sucks, but if I can address it and change it and make it okay.
Because when you're done, he's probably still there.
Oh, very much.
And he's like, bro, what the fuck? Like, seriously?
I'm not trying to. I don't want to start.
Yeah, beef. Like that's not because that. Well, now if it was the other way around, and he might be like, I could see him being the one like, bro, you ruined my set because you did. You alienated my audience.
I could have said that to him.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. Like I feel like
come at them with
if the roles were reversed, he would have said that to you. But of course, that's not you because you are a very humble person, and that is just not your style.
Yeah, and y'all. So same thing. Like y'all came out to a lot of early shows when it's what I found is like early shows when they're booking newer comics, they're booking all of the newer comics.
They're trying to find
and sometimes that's just how you have to get your sea legs.
Throw shit against the wall and see what sticks.
Exactly. A lot of newer comics, I think, fall into this pitfall of people are laughing because I've said something shocking. And the real $1 million question, the hard look that you have to take in the mirror is, are they laughing because it's funny, or are they laughing because I made them slightly uncomfortable?
Oh, yeah, that's a good thought. What do you think about that?
And even I went through that. I had a couple of jokes very early that I'm embarrassed that I told. And one of them I learned way later on wasn't even like a wholly original idea. It was something that I had heard years and years before. But even then I was like, oh my God, like...
That was bad.
Ooh. But that was one of the first laughs that I got. So I told it way too long. Because I was like...
Yeah.
They're laughing. That's the desired result. How I want it.
The world we live in now is what is funny now. In 5 years, people will find offensive, probably.
Which is cool. I'm okay with that. Like, a lot of... and that's
depending on what it is, but yeah.
That's an interesting thing because I think a lot of people want to fight against that. Mm-hmm. And to me, I'm going, no, that's a good challenge. Because there will always be something that is still funny.
Yeah.
So grow with it and continue to evolve with it. Yeah. I mean, fuck, I don't want to be 50 years old coming out there doing Andrew Dice Clay jokes.
Yeah, that worked for him for a few years, and then
think about how well it worked for him, and how big he was in the 80s.
Yeah, I remember seeing him. I had no clue who he was because obviously I couldn't watch that stuff while I was too young. Yeah. But I just remember he had the leather jacket and the smoking with his hand around his
all the way
doing that,
and he did the dirty nursery rhymes.
Yeah,
and it was super gross.
Yeah,
like super gross. So. The reason why Andrew Dice Clay is a good example is because he never grew out of that.
You got to evolve, yes.
Had he grown out of that and said, all right, I'm going to do new kind of material, he probably could have kept his career going a little bit better. Yeah. He still performs and he's got an audience, but my goodness, it's not so far removed from
it's the audience from the 80s. You know, he's a parody of himself.
It really is. It's just the people that are like, I want to hear the dirty nursery rhymes.
Yeah, like I'm like 70 years old. I laughed back then. Might as well let's go back.
Yeah, and dude, it's kind of like, as a horrible comparison, but like really good musicians. Mm-hmm. I'm not like the Beatles, but look at the Beatles. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so if they had only done "I Want to Hold Your Hand" over and over again, I would not be a Beatles fan. Yeah, I want to hear Revolver Beatles. I want to hear Sgt. Pepper's. I want to hear the White Album. I like their later stuff a lot better. Yeah, that's how they grew, and so I'm okay with. There's this weird kind of thing right now. I hear being brought up a lot with the idea of like cancel culture or you can't make jokes about anything anymore. I'm like, no. Just because you can't joke about that, or you shouldn't joke about that. Yeah. I say shouldn't because you can, but there will be repercussions.
Yes.
Is that ultimately a bad thing, or does that mean that that's probably a challenge to all of us to be funnier in a better way?
Yeah.
There's still really funny shows that are coming on.
Oh yeah.
There's still funny movies getting made. Yeah. It's just maybe we have to work a little bit harder, and is that a bad thing?
Exactly. Well, and I think the problem with cancel culture is that, people are getting mad about what people said 10 years ago, and it's like, well, they're not the same people they were 10 years ago, and they've evolved just like society's evolved, where we know that's not funny anymore, so maybe we don't say that anymore. And
that's a different that's a different thing, and I agree with you 100% on that. Yeah, give people the chance for redemption and growth.
Exactly. Or maybe they've already done it. Maybe they already apologized. I know the Kevin Hart thing was like a huge thing. Yeah. Where he's like, look, I've already apologized for this. I've already done these things. That was from like 9 years ago. I've already said what I had to say about that, so why is this all of a sudden now a problem?
Right.
And I got his side of things, and that's where I think I got upset about, like, okay, that's just dumb for them to get upset about that, but to each their own.
There's a weird social thing. Yeah. And it's fewer people than I know personally. I don't know face to face like a lot of people that really enjoy this, but a collective subgroup of society that we love nothing more than to see a fall from grace.
Oh, how much? 100%.
And I think that's more of what cancel culture is about. Mm-hmm. It serves that kind of... There's something about the drama of it that we feed off of in a very unhealthy way. Yep. Because what it causes for us to do is to go back and look at things from 10 years ago and be like, oh, you said this. You're next on the chopping block.
Well, and especially because, now with these, you could look at it anytime.
Right.
You could literally go back and say, oh, yeah, I know exactly what you said 10 years ago. and everything else. And so, which it makes me think of, you know, a Batman. You know, you live, either you die the hero or you live long enough to become the villain. And
right on.
For a lot of people, you know, Kevin Hart was one of them, Ellen DeGeneres, like a lot of these now people that people adore, people are like, oh no, there has to be something wrong, let's find it. Or maybe there was something wrong and they exposed it, and there we go.
And that's the exposing something really wrong, I'm okay with. Like, let's get, I'll use Louis C.K. as an example.
Yeah.
Not that upset that he's canceled.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's just certain things you probably shouldn't do. And I think power and a lot of that comes in terms. And the Louis thing's interesting because a lot of comics wanted to defend him. And I'm a big, like, separate the art from the artist kind of person. I can still go back and watch a Louis C.K. special and probably think it's very funny.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't separate art from the artist, don't listen to any music ever.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't, you know, like, not even like Mozart. Go watch Amadeus and tell me he wasn't a son of a bitch.
Yeah. That's...
But the way our culture is now is there is no separation.
Yeah.
It's the person making art, that's the product.
Yeah.
Just as much as the product, the art itself is the product.
Yeah.
And it's sort of the Paris Hilton, Kim Kardashian paved the way for that.
Yeah.
So that lends itself into, if we don't like something you said as a person, now we can't support your art. And that's an interesting thing. I don't have really an opinion on it 100% one way or the other, because it just is. It's just the nature of the beast right now.
It's the way the world's evolving, and it's like, okay, we could hate it all we want, but that's where it's going.
Well, what I hope happens is that we collectively understand that it won't be a lucid decision that we make as a society. It'll just have to be something, kind of like a collective hive understanding that happens, where we recognize that, okay, we have to allow people a chance for forgiveness. Yeah. Otherwise, we're going to be in trouble.
Yep.
If it's something that warrants forgiveness.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'll forgive, like a Louis C.K. on a personal level,
which you'll never forget.
But maybe don't do stand up.
Yeah.
Maybe try to get a job as a writer, something like that. Be a better person, but I don't know. And you see there, I'm kind of falling into a self-contradiction because I realize what I just said about separating the art and artist. So it's a weird thing. I don't know.
I think there is no right or wrong way to approach it. I think you approach it what you feel is best for you.
That's true. I guess the point I was trying to make there is there are degrees. You know, like Harvey Weinstein probably doesn't deserve to be in the head of a film studio anymore. No. But Kevin Hart has done a good job of moving his career forward. And I think to a degree it comes from the people that are genuinely trying to be a better person and saying like, hey, that's not me anymore. Yeah. Kevin Hart's one of them. He's in a big way. Because he does a ton of charity stuff. He seems like a really good dude. Well, whereas when other people do it, you're like, oh, that's such a forced apology. You're doing it because you think that's what people want.
Well, and I think what helps too, because him being a comedian, like his comedic stand-up has been about a lot of his life. Like he incorporates a lot of his life into his sets, at least, from the ones that I've seen. And it's like, okay. And so people I think that's why I feel like when he says, look, I apologize, I've moved on, people maybe buy it more because like a Harvey Weinstein, you don't see him, like, I didn't even know who the hell he was until all this came out. I'm like, who the hell was that? Yeah. But Kevin Hart, because you see him constantly on TV or now he has a new Netflix special that I saw a commercial for yesterday where now whether or not it's really in his house or not, I don't know, but apparently it's in his house. And people are wearing masks. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Which I can't wait to see the Dan Hornstein Netflix special one day. That's going to be awesome.
It'll be short.
That's fine. I got time to kill.
I'll get you the preview and that's it. Yeah.
I'm your host, Dan Hornstein. Good night, everybody.
You're going to be watching it in 10 years being like, dude, really? That joke's old.
I'm going to text you going,
you didn't do the Fast and the Furious tag on your own special.
Motherfucker, you didn't use any of my jokes I told you from the podcast 10 years ago. No. Okay, so a few more things before we wrap up. But so we talked about like old jokes, and is there like a certain theme you like? So you mentioned earlier that you don't do the story thing. You kind of just go with jokes, which makes me think of Mitch Hedberg.
Because love Mitch Hedberg.
God, he was so great. Just like he would say a joke, and then the next joke had nothing to do with the previous joke or the joke before that. It was just literally random thoughts, it seemed like, that came to his head.
Yeah.
You know, which whether he scripted them or not, either way, that's what it came off as. So I guess my thing for you is like, do you have...
First time I heard Mitch Hedberg, like, this is embarrassing. I didn't see the special. Somebody had a CD that they gave me.
Yeah.
I thought he was black.
Yeah, nope, he's not.
And I was like, wow, I was way off.
Straight up, stoned out, drugged out, white boy like from California looking.
I don't know why I thought that too.
Oh, I remember the first time I saw him was on a Comedy Central stand-up when I was living with my friends up in Nac, and I was on an was
that his 30-minute special?
I think so, yeah.
There's a really interesting behind the scenes.
Oh, I need to see that
story about that. It's not something anybody filmed. I watched an interview with people talking about it that were there.
Okay.
The 30-minute thing was supposed to be 60 minutes, and apparently he bombed for about half of that.
Oh wow!
And they scrapped together the 30 minutes of it and released that.
Oh, that actually was good.
That was good.
Oh,
and not only is it good, it's great.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what everybody knows of Mitch Hedberg.
Oh.
But there's this whole other side to it that apparently he did.
Wow.
He was so upset with it that at a certain point he's just sitting on the stage.
Oh, Jesus.
Like there's this couple steps behind him. He's just sitting on those steps, like kind of like head in his hands. Like it was a really bad moment for him.
Yeah.
And they say that had a lot to do with like his heroin addiction that kind of
like
really got into a next level after that.
I don't know if this was the same special or not. Maybe it was. It's the joke I always remember when he goes to buy donuts and they ask him for the receipt.
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
Yes.
Why do I need a receipt? Well, we file it under D for donuts, or however he said it.
Yeah, there's no need to bring pen and ink into this, or something like that.
And then it's like, man, I was really hungry, and so I ate rice because I could have 5,000 of them or something, or something like that. I know I'm butchering it, but I just remember when I heard those jokes, I was like, oh my God, it's so funny.
Yeah, my favorite Mitch Hedberg joke is just a short one-liner. He's like, I bought an ant farm. Those motherfuckers didn't grow shit.
See, man, God, I wish he was still around.
Joke. That's
God, I wish
so
he was
good.
still around. So my thing is for you is, do you usually stick with a certain theme or a certain topic or criteria? Like, do you usually try to stick, like when you're writing it or thinking of something new, do you usually, not that the whole set is, but is there usually like one joke that you will stick with, or genre?
There's a tone.
Okay.
That I try to do. So I write short jokes that came from me stealing from Alan. And so I do a lot of quick, here's a short setup.
Yeah.
I'm using fewer words if better, and then I try to get to a punchline fast. And and that by nature sets you up to do more Mitch Hedberg style non sequiturs. What I hope to do, I end up writing a lot of jokes that I write them at different times, but they're related in sort of the subject matter.
Okay.
Getting in shape, being married, getting older.
Yeah.
I may think of 7 or 8 jokes in different times, but they're centered around the same thing. Well, when I do a longer set, I bucket those together because it feels now like more of a presentation, even though there are a lot of short jokes.
Yeah.
That helps the audience, I think, feel like there's more consistency and more of a narrative to it. My goal with anything that I do joke-wise is I want the audience to think, this guy is an idiot. I really mean that. There's some people that get on stage and like think about like your George Carlin, or your like Bill Hicks type of comics that they're there to inform as well as to make laugh, and they have always got their goal is I'm going to take something that you're thinking of with this one perspective, and I want to shine a different light on it and make you think about this differently. And simultaneously I'm making you laugh. Man, kudos to you. If you can do that, hats off. That's not my style. When at one point I saw an exercise one time that said, write what your goal for your comedy is, or what your tone or your theme for your comedy is, in 5 words or less. You should be able to state what you want to do. And I wrote, dumb joke or silly jokes, I'm dumb. So what that tells me is I want to think of things that are cartoonish, that are that don't make sense, that are kind of sort of coloring outside of the lines of reality a little bit. And that's where the land of silliness is. And then if there's ever a punchline, I want to be the butt of the joke. I don't ever want to make somebody else the butt of my joke. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be talking down to people. So if I can take a scenario and I'm the thing that's wrong, or I'm the missing piece, or the something that doesn't fit in there, then it works. It works really well, and people get to laugh at me. It's a little self-deprecating, but it's coming from a warm, hopefully a warm place, you know. And what I find is that if I do it the right way, it puts me in a good position with material, so that I can talk about a variety of different subjects. But if I'm always bringing it back to like, I don't understand this, or I'm dumb, people will let you. They're good. So you can go into, I don't typically, but I feel like I could get into topics that are quote cancel culture topics. Not because I'm talking about that specific topic or group or whomever. I'm bringing it up. That's the subject of the joke, but I'm the punchline. And that's the big difference, right? Sort of like it's like Rodney Dangerfield. You know, his whole shtick about like he was
no respect,
and like
I need a tie, no respect.
Like his whole style is probably like, if I had to pick one person that I'm trying to be closest to now, I would think that's a good goal to aim for, because it's just I would go watch one of his old like Johnny Carson clips, dude. First of all, it's still funny.
Of course.
It's 50 years old and it's still funny. Like the jokes are still really that good. It's silly. He's the victim of all of his jokes, and he's got so many of them. It's nuts to think about.
I feel like maybe that works because if you're the one making a joke, kind of making fun of you or laughing at you, it's easy because you are you. You know how to make fun of yourself.
That's the other thing too. Is I know where my flaws are with my logic or with whatever.
And I feel like if you're able to make fun of yourself, which anybody that is listening this or watching this and they know me personally, they know for a fact, and you know this, I make fun of myself all the damn time.
That's one of the things that we do well together.
Because I'm okay with myself where, like, yes, I'll make fun of myself. Like, I have a lot of great qualities, but I do a lot of dumb shit too.
Exactly.
And I'm okay with that.
Exactly. But
I mean, I got stories for days that, you know, I could talk on this podcast, which I'm sure eventually will come out. I mean, I have hit myself in the head with a hatchet. I've almost caught myself on fire. I've done a lot of dumb shit, you know. It's just, but when you can do that, I feel like it's just, especially in your world of comedy, that's easier to do for sure.
I think,
or you're more comfortable doing it.
I think even outside of that, look at you, where you've been able to do things not only with your like professional life but personally too. You are a very popular person to be around. People seek you out. They're like, it's kind of the life of the party thing, right? You've always been that way. That's one of the reasons why I think you and I got along so well when we first started meeting. And some of it comes from everybody. If you're doing it in a way that's genuinely funny and you're making fun of yourself, people respond to that. They're gravitating towards that because it makes you easier to align with and easier to build on some level rapport with, because you're not above anybody. You're bringing yourself not only to their level but just a slightly belief. And I think on some sort of capacity, that makes people want to be around people. And so it's a likability thing.
It's probably because I know for the way I act, I don't do it for people to seek me out. I do it just because that's how I am. I've always been that way,
but it's a good byproduct.
It is, and I feel like for people, maybe the reason they like that is because then it's like, oh man, he's showing vulnerability. It's easy to get into, and then he's not full of himself,
right?
You know, because you have people that are like what you just described, but they do that because I want to be the center with everybody else around me.
It's a weird charisma thing that you build up, and you've been able to. You're, I think, self-aware enough to know how to use that to your advantage, but
to my advantage.
But it helps, man.
I take it. That's how I got my wife. Took advantage.
So,
Oh, that joke fell. Okay.
That's
That's why I'm not a comedian.
that was killed.
Literally killed.
Do comedy. Come do comedy, man. Please.
Maybe one day I'll say fuck it and do it. Okay, so before we wrap up, I got just two more things.
Did I go way over time? I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I don't care.
Okay.
That's the beauty of my
I don't care.
That's about the beauty about my show.
My show.
It's my show. I do what I want.
You can cut out the parts where I'm doing like just rambling.
No, hell no. That's staying in. Okay. Because it's great. I don't have a boss. Like, I do what I want when I want to do it. Like, basically, this is my show. I'm the boss of myself.
You have a boss, but she's inside.
She's not the boss of me.
That's it.
No, that's how I whispered that because I don't want her to hear that shit. All right, so
It's like that Key and Peele sketch.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't. God damn it. Oh man. So you've been doing some stand-up stuff. You said you've been going out and about. So I guess, do you have any shows coming up that you want to tell people about over the next week or throughout the rest of the year? Anything lined up yet? Or
There's, it's real nice to say, like, COVID has definitely put. It's not that I'm not getting booked because of my talent.
Well, no.
It's all COVID at this point. I can blame it all on that.
I guess I should play, like, okay, or I should rephrase that. With COVID, are there any shows you're able to do?
I'm just going to say there's no shows. No, there's one. I do have a show coming up, and I thank you for letting me plug this. On December 5th, it's something I'm really excited about. I'll be performing at the Margaritaville Casino in Lake Conroe.
Nice.
Which is a little bit of a drive, but... I don't know who else is on the lineup yet, but the guy that hosts it is a pro comic who has toured a bunch. His name is Billy D. Washington, and he is absolutely hilarious. So even if you're like, Hornstein's iffy, I don't know about this guy.
No, he's not. He's not iffy. Go see his ass.
Come to the show because you'll get to watch Billy D. Washington, who is just leaps and bounds hilarious comic. No, that's right now the only thing that I have on the books.
No offense to him, but he's not on my show. I don't care about him.
I appreciate that. If you get him,
oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be great. So yeah, that'd be great. All right, and then so my last thing I'll bring up. So okay, perfect. So you said December 5th.
December 5th.
Okay.
Margaritaville Casino in Lake Conroe.
I feel like you're gonna have margarita jokes.
8 p.m. ish.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool, man. Well, yeah, definitely. If you're watching or you're listening, go check it out. For sure. I've been to his shows. He's hilarious. I love Dan. He's great. Okay, so last thing is, so I'm doing my Christmas movie tournament. I did this big movie tournament that lasted 2 months, which I kind of the trial and error we were talking about with like comedy. I learned, okay, I'm not doing a 2-month fucking tournament again because that was stupid. That was really stupid. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I got a lot of like feedback of like, why not this movie? This movie sucks.
I was one of them.
Yeah, I know you were. Yeah,
I think not with the Christmas ones. It was
the other ones. Yeah,
all the genre ones.
Yeah,
it was the genre ones, and I think it was like sci-fi.
It probably was sci-fi. Yeah, because Jurassic Park won the sci-fi one.
And everybody like.
I was surprised. I thought it should have been The Matrix.
Listeners, please come to the show. But some of y'all have dog shit taste in movies.
Well, what's funny is on the podcast when we got to the like thriller, suspense, and dramas, Forrest Gump won that one, and Ashley, my friend who worked in movies for a number of years, she'd come on every show and we debated. Oh my God, she hates Forrest Gump, dude.
Forrest Gump is a dog shit movie. I do not understand how that movie is so beloved.
I don't think it's that bad of a movie.
It's okay, but it's not like this fantastic. You know what Forrest Gump is about? You know what the real truth, like the meaning of Forrest Gump is? It's that no matter who you are, how smart you are, or you know what, if you work hard and you try and you're a good person, it doesn't matter. If you're from Alabama, you're going to be stuck raising some AIDS baby from some whore that you knew growing up. Who's just going to dump your kid on you and be like, peace out, I'm dead. That's the whole purpose of Forrest Gump.
Either way, I still think it's a good movie.
Raise the kid that sees dead people.
That's true. Oh my God. Which, don't be wrong, I would not have picked Forrest Gump to win the drama, suspense, thriller, or any of those. And then Jurassic Park and sci-fi. Anyways, but so my question. So we brought. I put up my list of movies for.
You can cut the Forrest Gump part out.
No, the Forrest Gump is staying in there.
I call Jenny a whore.
We're like two peas in a pod. If one of the peas had AIDS.
Fucking peas and carrots, yeah.
Or peas and carrots.
Which one of the carrots is AIDS? It's baby carrots.
Oh my God, that's so bad. Okay, see, if you're listening to this and you're laughing, yeah, you got to go see his show. It's great.
It's just this. It's just 20 minutes of Forrest Gump hate.
So we're doing the Christmas movie tournament. 'Cause this one is only going to be like one round, and it's going to happen, next month. Just a few weeks probably before Christmas. And so I have my list up of movies to suggest. I know I left out one, but I put it on there.
I saw that, and I filled out the survey.
Yeah, well, so what's funny is because my friend Ashley, she reached out to me. She goes, "Where the hell's Batman Returns?"
Fuck yeah.
Because we had that whole argument, or not argument, but she made the case. I'm like, yeah, it's a Christmas movie. It takes place during Christmas.
Absolutely a Christmas movie.
If it takes place during Christmas, it's a Christmas movie. So, but my question for you is then, obviously, I haven't revealed who the final 16 are just yet. That will come after Thanksgiving. I'll make that announcement. We're going to do a Facebook Live.
Okay.
And then, at the same time, I reveal the winners, randomly drawing out of a hat who goes up against who, because I like that better. So, anyways, if you had to pick your all-time favorite Christmas movie, what would it be?
Batman Returns is close. It really is, dude. Batman Returns came out in like 1992.
I think so, yeah, because the original Batman was 90 or 91.
Yeah.
And then, the second one had to come out 92, 93, because I think it was 96 when the third one, like Batman Forever or Batman something.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think you're right. So 1992, it came out, I was 10.
Yeah.
And I got the VHS. My grandma bought me the VHS copy of that. So by the time I got the VHS, it was about a year later.
Yeah.
And I was 11. And a lot of like really boy-girl stuff happening.
You're like
with Michelle Pfeiffer
and you're
in Batman Returns.
You see Michelle Pfeiffer, you're like, what's going on in my pants?
For old Dan.
Like, my pants are getting a little too tight. No, never mind.
And so that kind of started it. But Batman Returns is such a cool movie. It's got such a cool style.
Yep.
It's got good music. It's got fucking Danny DeVito.
Love Danny DeVito.
In full Danny DeVito.
Yes.
And we went and rewatched it not too long ago.
Yeah.
They were showing it at the Cinemark. He's so horny in that movie. He's so horny, like all the time.
He just wants some loving.
And like, there's a part I never caught it. Like, I blurted out laughing in the theater. Where like, there's a scene where like Christopher Walken is trying to convince Danny DeVito to be mayor.
Oh God.
And then real quietly, he's like telling him about all the benefits of being mayor. He's like, you'll get to do this, you'll get to do that. Unlimited poontang. Like, I had never heard that line before. And I lost it. Because he says it all Christopher Walken. He's like unlimited poontang. And oh my God. So Batman Returns is up there. I'll give you a more traditional answer. Yeah. Goddamn, Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
Is hard to beat, dude.
Yeah.
It's if I had to pick like a regular Christmas movie, Christmas Vacation is one. Hey Griswold, where are you going to put a tree that big? Bend over and I'll show you.
Isn't that the same movie? It was like, your shitter's full.
Yes, yeah, shitter's full.
My wife loves Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation is excellent. Christmas Story is. I'm kind of tired of it now, just because of the whole 24-hour thing.
Yeah.
If I never see Christmas Story again, it's okay. But it still has some just wonderful parts.
But for me, I watch it once a year.
Yeah.
Because it's like when you have it running on TNT, like I literally will like just turn it on, like, okay, I already saw that part. All right, can I catch the beginning? Cool, I caught the beginning. All right, I'll watch this. Like,
yeah. I'm with you. Yeah, like that's we put it on every Christmas.
Yeah.
And I still laugh. I still laugh at all the same parts. The part where the kid is getting a whooping over the phone, and it's like the most god awful noise. Yeah. Like by the end of it, he's just like, ah! It's this horrible guttural sound. So I have my kind of my list of safer, like more traditional Christmas movies.
Yeah, of course.
And that'd be Christmas Vacation, Christmas Story. I've never seen a lot of the old ones. Like, I've never watched It's a Wonderful Life or White Christmas or was it Roman Holiday, I think is one.
Yeah.
And then I have like my adult themed Christmas movies, and that's Batman Returns, Die Hard, Bad Santa.
Oh my God,
so unbelievably good, dude.
And that was in that movie. Thank God John Ritter made it through that movie.
Yes,
because he's not in
hilarious.
it. He's not in it long or a lot, but man, when he's in there, he's so funny.
So dude, funny. Ritter's just fantastic.
I miss that man. He was
Ritter and Bernie Mac.
Yeah, Bernie Mac,
who passed away.
Yes.
Yeah. Those would probably be my three. We watched, me and Sarah watched Die Hard 2 nights ago because it's on HBO.
Yeah,
and it's awesome. And then Sarah was like, "Holy shit, I've never seen Die Hard 2."
Oh.
So we watched Die Hard 2 last night.
Oh, okay.
And Die Hard 2 is not good.
No, it's not.
It's really
like, okay,
it's not bad.
If it's on, I'll watch it. But if somebody goes, "What's the better Die Hard?" Well, first of all, the first one. The third one is second for me, and then I'll even say the Live Free and Die Hard, where he had what's his face, Justin, the young guy at the time, where Washington D.C. It was like
Justin Long
and Timothy Oliphant.
Okay,
I'm gonna even put that one above Die Hard 2.
I didn't see that one
because it's actually not terrible. But it's better than 2. I'll say that because they took it in a more technology type of way because at that time technology was so big. And of course, Timothy Oliphant is just, I love him as an actor, one.
Yeah.
But it was a very unique, different situation.
I get a Corey Ludens vibe off Timmy Oliphant.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Like, go watch him in that Santa Clarita Diet show.
Oh, Megan loves that. Megan loves that show.
Watch that show. I'm going to tell Megan in a minute.
Yeah.
Tell me he doesn't. That's Corey Ludens.
That
all the way is his character in that show.
Probably is, but yeah, I put the Live Free and Die Hard before Die Hard 2. Because Die Hard 2 was that very typical, like, the first one was so good. How can we make a second one? Okay, great. How can we change it up? It's an airplane.
And it's not like the guy from NYPD Blue.
But it was like, God, yes, that dude. He was being a dick, which is
so annoying.
He's such an asshole. Movie. And then the whole thing, his brother is the tow guy that was trying to tow his car. But no, the thing is though, with Die Hard 2, so with Die Hard, it wasn't over the top, like shoot 'em up, kill 'em, like in a way, right? I mean, it had its moments, but it didn't seem like over the top, like shooting people. The second one, that's all there was.
Yeah,
like on the snowboard.
It was like 15 minutes in.
Yeah,
he was already killing somebody,
and it was just like over the top. I'm just like, okay, yeah, this was definitely a very typical '90s sequel.
Plus, as far as villains goes, Die Hard 1 and Die Hard 3, Alan Rickman and Jeremy Irons, like, come on,
man, you had
man.
That was perfect casting.
You're gonna put them, and then Die Hard 2, it's like the guy that played the Grim Reaper in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
I didn't even know that was him.
Don't give me that shit, you know? Yeah, this is the same dude.
Oh my god, I heard that we watched Die Hard 2 and like really stare at it going, okay, oh my god, it's him!
It really is. Once you recognize it, you're like, oh shit. Man, now I can't watch either of those movies.
Like while he's shooting, plays the air guitar.
Yeah.
Like, just shoot him. Yeah, I love your list of movies. Yeah, definitely. I put...
Did I have to pick all 16?
Yeah, well, yeah. So, yeah, I had people... There were over 40 movies, almost 50 movies to choose from.
God damn.
And in my brain, I'm like, all right, well, there's 16 that you get to pick.
There's a lot I hadn't seen.
Yeah, there's a lot I hadn't seen either. But yeah, I would say for sure, like, Die Hard is, like, my go-to Christmas movie, which makes me a little weird. Just because I love it, and it's a very unorthodox Christmas movie. But after that, it's Elf. I love Elf. I don't know.
Elf is good.
It makes me laugh because it's that kid humor from Will Ferrell that just makes me laugh, and because it's shit that I would do probably.
I don't know why the part that makes me laugh the most is when he chugs the 2-liter and burps for like 45 seconds. That's how I know I'm not an adult. Like that's I crack up at that every single time.
The thing I laugh the most is when he's in the city and he almost gets hit by the cab, and then he has Zooey Deschanel's character and they're running. He goes, "Watch out, the yellow ones don't stop." I don't know why. But I lose it every time because he's like, "Just watch out, the yellow ones don't stop." It's like, Jesus Christ.
That's awesome.
Because it's accurate. If you live in New York, those fucking cabs will run your ass over. They don't care.
That and just the answer to Buddy the Elf. What's your favorite color?
Yes. I love Smiling. Smiling's my favorite. See, that's why
that cracks me up.
I put Elf definitely up there in my top ones for sure.
I don't know if I had Elf. I need to go back and maybe redo it.
Yeah, that's so I had to take down the voting because apparently my Survey Monkey had a very limited responses. So I had to stop the responses at one point because now it's like, well, you're only seeing this number of responses. So like if I had...
because you didn't pay for the premium membership?
I didn't pay for that shit. No, give me the free one. Of course, they're going to limit it to 40, or I think it was 40 or 50 or whatever it was. Anyways, but we got a good chunk of... but the 16 that are final, like there was a good gap between the 16 and like the next 17, 18, 19, and 20. It wasn't like it was very close.
For sure, yeah.
So even with all the voting, it would have been fine. But all right, Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I feel like you and I can ramble for hours.
I know.
About all kinds of stuff. But I want to thank you for coming on, man.
Dude, I had fun.
I really enjoyed it. We'll have to have you on again. And
I hopefully had some like good answers and not just...
No, you had great insight, man.
Okay.
This whole podcast is about sharing...
Caring.
Yes.
And daring.
And just daring it up. No, it's just I like to share what my friends are doing that they're doing. My friends do a lot of cool shit, and I like to showcase that. You know, I got friends in real estate. I got a buddy of mine who we just haven't been able to connect schedule-wise. Who's a professional. He was a professional wrestler out in Georgia for a number of years. So I'm trying to get him on. You know, we've been trying to coordinate that. You know, I got my friend up in New Jersey with her 2 hair salons. I got a friend who's an influencer on Instagram, and I just like, people I got friends that do cool shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's have him on. And you're actually the first one that I've had on that I haven't known my entire life. I've only known you for 6 years, but it feels like I've known you my whole life.
Feels like way longer.
We fucking talking bullshit about so much shit.
That is true.
You know. So yeah, but. Dude, I wanna thank you. It's been a blast catching up with you. I haven't had a chance to talk to you in a while. So yeah, it's fun.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, but I appreciate you coming on. For anybody listening and watching, make sure that you go like and subscribe to the podcast wherever you find it. Feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. We have a Facebook page. We have an Instagram page. Facebook is the Gentile Life Podcast. Instagram is the _ Gentile_life. Those fucking underscores get me every time. So hit us up on Instagram. And if you're listening to this, we'll be revealing the winners or the final 16 of the Christmas movie bracket, because Christmas officially starts after Thanksgiving. I don't care what anybody says, after Thanksgiving. So we'll do all that after Thanksgiving. But guys, everybody have a great one, and we'll see you next time.